through my minister. Let me start with that one, guarding the men of God.
And women.
And women. Honorable Chair, that's not our policy.
Good.
And I would request my honorable member, who is the NRM spokesperson, to give us the details, because he cited one example in Ginger. If other people have been saying we shall handle, but this time we shall handle it for real.
Thank you.
That's
a good commitment.
Give us details.
Okay.
Honorable Chair, I will quickly rush to...
Oh, what details does he require?
Honorable Bachireke, a question...
No, because he said he wanted details and I'm here to represent my people.
Yeah,
no.
The details he requires is that pastor or reverend who is guarded by UPDF. The details.
Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Numbers, I will answer your question. That was from a question from Honorable Chintu.
Yeah, a question was asked.
But allow me go to this issue of the uniforms. How many types of uniforms does UPDF have? Honorable Chair, we have various types of uniforms, that's what I want to say. Why? Because of the services. Let me start with the land forces. Land forces, we have this, what we are putting on, desert camouflage. This uniform is for external operations. For instance, when we are operating in Sudan area, Somalia, we put on this. Then we have the second one, which is called woodland. Woodland is purely green, but also in this fashion. This is for internal operations here in the country. Then we have number one. Number one is ceremonial, long sleeve. Then we have counter suit, or working dress. Some of the colleagues are putting on it.
Like Kano Nandudu. Huh? Is this the one?
Yes, yes, Honorable Chair. Now the colors vary according to the service. I've talked of land forces. Air Force, Dugugoni, that is sky blue for the Air Force. Now we break it down to the formations, like the divisions. We identify formations by their uniform. For instance,
General Kiding, are these specified by a schedule in the law or regulation?
Yes.
That is all. That's all we need. Yeah.
They're all uniform.
Honorable Chair, that's where I was heading to. That formations are identified by their uniforms. I can give an example. Artillery from land forces, they are identified by the black berets. Military police is identified by red berets. So the honorable member maybe is not strict. If maybe they will go with red berets. Red berets, that's part of our uniform, sincerely. Black berets, part of our uniform. Green berets for infantry divisions, part of our uniform. And because a uniform is complete, right from the beret or the cap up to the boot.
Chair, it should be clear, so the symbol that differentiates the symbol.
Honorable Nyeko, I thought we asked for purposes.
The question was, why do UPDF have several uniforms? I gave the answer, because each service has its own uniform. Secondly,
I asked the question. The question was, one, what are your gazetted uniforms? And you mentioned them. Unfortunately, you also indicated that Kaunda suits your uniforms. And that's why I gave a rejoinder that which
Kaunda
counter suit.
Green,
Two.
I showed
The,
it here.
the other question was, why do you continue arresting our people dressed in red and parading them before the court martial when the actual fact is that you don't own that color red exclusively?
Red
And
beret
thirdly,
gazetted
why is
honorable.
it that people belonging to other political parties have been seen even dressed in your real uniforms and you don't arrest them?
Okay.
And
you have made your point.
why
earlier.
is it that, Mr. Chairman, this country continues to allow importers to import textiles?
Now that's a policy. Honorable
That is
Minister will
in-
have, yeah, that's now at policy level.
And these clothes are at our shops and they are being sold.
I
And
hear
then
you.
the other day, if you are noob,
Chair,
Mm.
I have already concluded by saying
You
we
will
shall
give us,
present
thank you. Make it
our
public.
gazetted uniform
That is it.
to the House.
Thank you. Next.
Yes.
Chair, with
Senior officers.
Honorable Abdallah, what's the problem?
Chair, as he's answering, our
This-
colleague.
An emblem. Because our understanding in the military might differ to what you call an emblem. So
Honorable Minister,
the
I made a ruling here.
that we shall supply.
Yes, thank you. And that's it. Yes. No.
Honorable Chair,
No.
allow
Yes.
me go to Honorable Sekubo raised an issue of two generals who retired
Yes.
but causing chaos.
Yes.
Again, I would request Honorable to give us the details
Okay.
or to meet us. Maybe before even I go, yes, I need the details. Because even said
So-
they had a rally.
Mm.
But I would be very happy if you gave me those details. We have our mechanism.
Is in the range of 55 million to 61 million. For example, if we are constructing the Kachir barracks, the house will cost 55 million. If we are constructing in Karamoja
And
or
how many
West Nile,
bedrooms are those?
these are 2 bedrooms, sir.
2-bedroomed house.
And it will cost to take 40 billion, around 40 billion. Now, for the UPDF headquarter building, it has got a total floor area of 30,000 square meters at a cost of 94 billion. Now, this financial year, there is 21 billion, but if I can get the balance of the 73 to enable us construct it and complete it next 26, 27. So I'm here pleading, Honorable Chair and members, that 80 billion should be removed from shortfall to available.
The committee will also visit to see so far what has been done.
You are welcome, sir.
Okay.
Chair,
You know,
61 billion, we are appropriating 40 billion for housing. And we should be getting 700 houses.
So with what
So-
you have been provided,
Yes, the 61.
how many units are you giving us?
We are going to get 700 units.
Genoula? Yeah.
Chair,
Yes.
Thank you. 9 billion from Minister of Finance as allocation every year, financial year.
Every year,
Every financial
NEC gets 9 billion.
9 billion.
Mhm.
And this 9 billion, 7 goes to Luero industry for strategic production of strategic nature, for salaries and the rest. Then 2 billion goes to the headquarters for salaries and welfare. The rest of the other subsidiaries don't get any money at all
From government.
from government. I wanted to bring this so that you can answer understand what I'm going to put across. There was a question about NECO Zima, that they are posting negative. It's not true. NECO Zima has been making profits. Last financial year, they posted a profit of 164 million. The history of NECO Zima is that at one point we were not even able to meet the requirement, the demand for UPDF, because we supply UPDF with water. But internally we generated money, capital, and we put in a new line, production line. Now we have been able to supply fully UPDF, and we have now gone to the open market. We are in.
You are even selling to Parliament.
Yes, and even in supermarkets, and we are now making profit. That means that we are now.
You know, you have answered, because the question was whether we put in money. Yeah. So you have answered.
So
NEC Agro.
NEC Agro.
Yes.
Actually, I'm
NEC Katonga. You want that to
let me
make
go
losses.
to research and development, which is under Rural Industries. For us to be able to compete in the open market, because our work is to NEC is supposed to provide goods and services for UPDF and the wider public market. So
when we get this money, which we are still looking for, and we've put it before you, Uganda Air Cargo will remain not only air cargo, but will be one of the best within East Africa. Because there are so many business opportunities that we are missing out, and the aircraft which is on maintenance and repair.
Honourable Minister, we have 10 minutes. Soon. Plenary is starting.
Yeah.
Yes. Mr. Chairman, and more comparing, Mr. Chairman.
Somebody say something about the salary enhancement?
Salary enhancement.
Yes.
Yes.
Staff Finance. The current salary enhancement is done in phases. In financial 2022-23, a private was earning 450, and a captain was earning 845,000. In financial 2024-25,
yes,
our target was to make a private earn 812,000,
yes,
and the captain earn 1.5, but because of the challenges in resourcing the funds, the Ministry of Finance only allocated us 214, so we are able to pay a private 650,000.
What percentage of increments is that?
That one was 50%, and a captain 1.1%,
which is also
23% against the long pay plan. Therefore, the coming financial 2020
no, captain now
is earning
1.1,
and the percentage is 23%.
And the private
is 50%.
Huh?
50%.
50%, which brings it to 850. Yeah.
650.
Okay.
And our projection for 2025-26, we are looking at paying a private at 812,000 and a captain at 1.54.
Procedure, Chair.
Procedure,
Chair.
Yes.
Before you tell us your wish,
we want to thank you, Parliament, for the support to the men and women in uniform. It is on record that you wish
this
them
committee.
This committee, and when I say Parliament, it's this committee together with the budget committee. So we still trust that all is not lost, and the incremental phases, we hope that for next coming financial year, they will move until they get 1 million shillings a private. That is the real target. 1.2 actually is the main ultimate target. So for a private, and that will really change around the welfare of our men and women.
Okay, move on. You have 10 minutes.
We recruit
General Musinguzi are medical doctors in UPDF.
Yes,
getting the same. Yes.
I'm talking about UPDF because it's what I know.
Yes.
The new ones, every year when they are recruited, they look at their qualifications. Those who are senior consultants, senior.
General, just answer the question whether the salary has been enhanced.
That's all.
They have been enhanced.
Thank
But no, yes.
Excuse Mr.
No,
Chairman.
no. Honorable Anya, excuse me. Really, give a chance. They are responding. We started here 9. So let's really get
we are about to conclude.
Yeah,
I
go
want
on.
to ask the PS.
Yes, like is observed, the budget for defense is going down. And Honorable Sechikubo, much as you're asking this question, I think you know the right answer, because we have been submitting our requests to Minister of Finance, to the Budget Committee, to everyone, but nothing has been, allocated to us above what we had requested. So really, much as we are talking about our involvement in all these activities and not having commensurate budget, we'll try to do our best, work within what is available, and where we fail, we shall come back to you to ask for supplementary. So I think that is the answer that I can give.
Let me get a clarification.
And finally, on
Mr. Chairman, saying the budget is going down. So if the budget is going down, why do you project just to be paying our officer?
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman,
that's the problem.
The issues that Honorable Nambozi, where the name, the MP of Mukono municipality, by MP, talked about the politics and the position of the UPDF and the Ministry of Defense. If you look at the 2 articles of the Constitution, Article 208 and 209, you will find that without the UPDF, you can't have the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs. We are one and same. There is no known other position of the position on the same-sex marriage. Same-sex marriage or homosexuality in Uganda is criminal. So those that are alleging to have been sodomized, and of course this is a matter that we've never had, those we encourage you to take them to take legal action against the specific offenders. Otherwise, for us as UPDF, that's not a policy issue that we scat around it. It is a matter that was settled in 1923 in the Penal Code Act, and was also presently settled in this other Anti-Homosexuality Act. So we don't want to be dragged into the politics of homosexuality. That is a taboo even for us to keep on saying it. So we don't know those things. I think they are only known in some other cities, in some other places. Meanwhile, allow me on behalf of the UPDF and Ministry of
Chair, there are questions we raised that have not been.
Which question that has not been answered?
When will the operations Suja end? And when will the Karamoja operations end? Let me start from home. Honorable Chair, I want to inform the House that right now there is relative peace in Karamoja and the neighboring districts. That is a fact. As much as we are trying as a country, as Uganda, but we should also be mindful that that area of Karamoja borders other 2 countries. We have Kenya on the other side of the east, and then South Sudan on the north. If everybody was committed the way we are committed in Uganda, then that question will be easy to answer. But in Southern Sudan, there is no government in those areas bordering us. So the operation will not end. And the border is porous. There is no wall barring the other people from infiltrating to our country.
Okay.
That's about Karamoja.
Suja?
It will end when all the 3 governments come together. Yes, there is what UPDF can do. There is
Order, Mr. Chairman. Order.
No.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Order.
All our borders. Are we incapacitated? We have enough manpower to control
you
our
have made
borders.
your point, so let him answer.
Sincerely, why do you depend on other countries?
Honorable Anya.
Shortfall of 80 billion shillings. And this is for purposes of constructing 700 housing units in selected sites across the country, and also for construction of the joint headquarters at Mbuya. And we've already started on this project of joint headquarters at Mbuya, but we are still at a low level. So that is an area where, if possible, this amount of money could be, pushed up so that we finish our joint headquarters. Under construction and equipment of maintenance workshops, we needed 28.9. Nothing was provided, so that shortfall is still standing of 28.9. And this is for purposes of construction and equipping of in-house garages, which are intended to reduce the high cost of repairs in private garages and to enhance internal capacity. And Mr. Chairman, this was a directive by His Excellency the President. So we are implementing, but still the funds aren't adequate. Under land acquisition, we needed 88.5, allocation 17.7, shortfall 70.8, and there are lots of debts here, which amount to about 218.8 billion. And out of that 218, we only have that 17.7 to partly settle the obligations. So there is that shortfall, which is quite huge, of 201. If you look at the dates, run dates specifically, not on the allocation. So we are saying that if we could get at least paid in 2 financial years, with Uganda shilling 70.8 billion in financial 25-26, then this would help us to settle all the land compensations without having to go to litigations. Under solar power project, we needed 74. 0 monies were allocated, so that shortfall is still at 74. And we are in the process of constructing a solar project at Nakasongola, and this is aimed at reducing the expenditure on electricity, which is currently at 26 billion annually. You are aware that we have a project under Korora Airstrip, and the reason for this solar power projects is at least offset this heavy bill on electricity. We'll be generating our own power, consuming it, and reducing on the expenditure. Now, under operations, we have Operation Shuja. This is our involvement in DRC, where we are following the ADF. So here we needed 41.2, we have 26.3 as an allocations, and the shortfall is 14.9 billion. So UPDF still continues to undertake operations in DRC against ADF. So the additional funding requirement will cater for food, fuel, medical administration, and maintenance of the equipment. Another operation is Karamoja, Usalama kwa wote. Here we needed 46.8 billion shillings. We have been allocated 23.7, so there is a shortfall of 23.1 billion shillings. So the UPDF here is still continuing its operations in Karamoja, and this money is supposed to cover feeding, fuel, maintenance of equipment, scenic activities, and operation fund. I'm sure in Karamoja there is some usalama of some nature of late, because security has at least improved. So more funding definitely would lead to total elimination of insecurity in Karamoja. Now on election security, elections are coming in soon, so here we need to protect all of you, members of parliament, during this period. And the required amount is 138.4 billion shillings. The shortfall, we didn't get anything, so the shortfall is still 138.4 billion shillings. And this is for purposes of providing logistical and operational requirements of UPDF while securing the 2026 general elections. Under production, we have Uganda Air Cargo Corporation, and it needed 381 billion shillings. Nothing has been provided, and the money is basically for capitalization of Uganda Air Cargo in line with the cabinet directive. Cabinet directed, but Uganda Air Cargo has never received this money. National Enterprises Corporation NEC required 15.5. The allocation in the budget is 9.4, and a shortfall of 6.1 billion shillings. And mainly this money is required to address research and development under Ruero Industries and headquarter shortfalls. If Ruero Industries specializes in this area, for sure we are going to reduce on the money that we spend on importing classified equipment. I think you have seen their buses, several things that rail industry is doing, armored vehicles. So that is an area that requires serious input. Now the subtotal here is 396, and that is under Uganda Air Cargo and Ruero Industries. Sorry, National Enterprises Corporation. And of that, only 9.4 is availed in the allocation in the budget. So we still have that shortfall of 387.2 billion shillings. Under policy and administration, there is the management of veteran affairs, and we had requested for 21.6. Only 2.4 is in the budget, and a shortfall of 19.2. This is an item that even appeared in the last financial year, this financial year, and this money has not come out, yet it is urgently required. Now, compensation of West Nile ex-combatants. Again, that total requirement was 26.2
26 billion, sorry. And we received 5 billion. No, 21 is the shortfall. Because we didn't get anything at all on that item. Compensation of West Nile ex-combatants. Required is 21. Yeah. But initially, it was 26. We got 5 billion. So the balance on that requirement is that 21, which is not provided for in the budget. No, because in this year it's only 21 because we have already offset the 5. Yeah, so it can't appear here. Yeah. Over the page, we have the upgrade of integrated resource management system. This is a system that has been handling the payment of wages, etc. in the ministry. And now on top of that, we want to add logistics management. And we need 40 billion shillings, but in the allocation it is 0. So the shortfall is still 40. And like I had said, it's for upgrading that system which is in existence to host logistics and pension management systems. Under third-party compensation and court awards, the required is 29.3, allocation is 2.8, shortfall 26.5. So here we need money to cover what we owe, to settle this compensation so that we don't go to court and pay more. Under electricity, we needed 150.8. The provision is 25.3. Shortfall is 125.5. And mainly, this is for domestic areas, what we have already consumed under electricity. Water, still domestic areas, we need 19 billion. The allocation is 12.8, shortfall 6.2. And these are areas where we have issues with these companies that provide these services. So the subtotal here is 281. And of that, 281 required, 43 allocated, 238.4 shortfall. So the grand total here is 4.7 trillion, allocation is 2.3 trillion, and shortfall of 2.383 trillion shillings. So that is on the item of shortfalls in the budget as per the allocation. So this takes me to issue number 3. Budget alignment to NP4. And here you requested us to provide evidence of alignment to the NDP4 and how the vote is addressing the gaps identified in the plan in the next financial year 25-26 and over the medium term. So in program-based approach to planning and budgeting under NP4, the Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs falls under the Governance and Security Program, GSP, and has aligned its 5-year priorities to NDP4, looking at the goal, the theme, and the objectives below. So under NP4 goal, we are required to achieve higher household incomes and employment for sustainable socio-economic transformation as a country.
I think you can
jump that.
Yes, go ahead to page 19, where it shows objective.
We are showing the ministry's priorities, output, and budget for financial year 25-26. One here is strengthen good governance, security, and the role of the state in development. And under governance, security program objectives is to strengthen the capacity of security agencies to address security threats and emergencies. So under the Ministry of Defense priorities, financial year 25-26 and the medium term, we are talking of enhancement of UPDF capability and capacity. So the output under that priority will be technical capability enhanced. And of this, we need a budget of 1.8 trillion shillings. This has some classified component. And also, under the same priority, there is capacity of UPDF enhanced. And this refers to recruitment and training. And the budget for 25-26 here is 23,152,014,978 Uganda shillings. Now, the second priority here under Ministry of Defense 25-26 is improving welfare of UPDF personnel. And here we are looking at the output being payment of salaries, which is 1.266 trillion shillings, housing of UPDF personnel and their families improved, which is 61.6 billion shillings, health care services of UPDF personnel and their families enhanced, 45.1 billion shillings, Defense Forces shop supported 8 billion, and then another priority still under Ministry of Defense is provision of combat services support. This is logistical support. So here we are looking at provision of food, fuel products, clothing, utilities, maintenance of equipment, operations, transport, among other services. And here we need, the budget that we have put here is 582 billion 832 million 544,740. Over the page 20, another priority is engagement in productive services or activities. So the ministry's engagement in productive services as an output is supposed to be enhanced. And here we are looking at the NEC, which gets about 2 billion support on salaries. And then Uganda Cargo 5.5. giving a total of 7.5 billion shillings. The next priority is building a vibrant and productive military veterans society. And the output here is providing pensions and gratuity, and then resettlement and integration of the veterans. And the amount of money provided here is 213.1 billion shillings. Another priority is to undertake research and development, and the output is research and development enhanced, and the 7.4 billion shillings you are seeing there is mainly for oil industries. Now, under the GSP objectives, there is strengthening the administrative, legal, institutional, and coordination capacity for governance and security. And here the output is policy, planning, administrative, and support services enhanced. And the monies allocated under this specific priority is 44.5 billion shillings. So there is also now,
Madam PS.
Yes, please.
You know, you did well by highlighting all areas. It's clear.
6.
Honorable Sech.
I thought she was proceeding well because she's helping us to
understand the detail.
Yes, and the items.
So, Chair, the grand total is 4.3 trillion shillings. Now we go to issue number 4, alignment to the budget strategy, financial year 25-26. You're asking us to illustrate the vote alignment with objectives and the budget strategy for financial year 25-26. So the budget strategy we had already highlighted agro-industrialization, tourism development, mineral-based industrial development, including oil and gas, science, technology, innovation, and knowledge economy. And ours is sustaining peace and security, macroeconomic stability, as well as strengthening governance and public sector efficiency. Now, Motiva contributes majorly to that area of sustaining peace and security. So in order to achieve this priority, the ministry has identified a number of priorities, and these are in table 6. Strategy 1, the priority area is sustaining peace and security, macroeconomic stability, governance and public sector efficiency. Priorities here is enhancement of UPDF capability and capacity, and the key interventions. Should I go through them? I can jump. Okay. So the key interventions are there. So under priority number 2, improving welfare of UPDF personnel. Again, the key interventions are there. Provision of combat services support. Again, we have the key interventions there in the document. Then engagement in productive activities. We have Uganda Yakago Corporation. And we have the key interventions. National Enterprises Corporation also. Again, we have the key interventions in that document. And yeah. Then building a vibrant and productive military veteran society. The details are there as key interventions. And undertaking infrastructure development. We have the key interventions there. And this goes overboard to page 27. So undertaking research and development is another priority for the ministry. And we have key interventions. And there are no, supplementary prone areas. Over the...
Just for emphasis, honorable colleagues, I'm very grateful that you asked this. These are areas which are well known in advance about the wage. The number is known. Pension is all related to the personnel, gratuity. Food is based on the number. Fuel, medical expenses, clothing. These are all well known. We would not ordinarily be asking for supplementary. So when you see it, these are foreseeable, and it makes the ministry look so bad that every now and then we have a shortfall in this area. Just to emphasize that it's not that lack of planning. There's something that this committee can help us to find out why do we get supplementaries in areas that you already know. That you have this number of soldiers, they will need clothing, they will need food, they will need pension, they will need salary. Just to emphasize. PS, go.
Honorable colleagues, the structure starting from our previous interaction with them, we want to know budget performance, we want to know responses on audit, want to know, so it actually highlights our concerns in advance. And I'm happy the presentation is responding to each and every concern highlighted. However, honorable colleagues might have other points for clarification, for example, in which case I can give them a chance to do that. But otherwise, the presentation is really spot on, is self-explanatory. Again, you have planned, we have allocated. Our issue was where we have given you money, why have you not done what you are supposed to have done? And yes, so you took us through budget discipline, you took us through performance of the budget 2023-24, right? Our other concern is the stock of domestic arrears. Very, very important, because it touches on our voters, it touches on accountability. Please take us through that. How come you don't pay people who supply you?
Thank you, Chair. I think maybe we don't pay is because when we ask for funding, we normally get less than what we have asked for. And mainly when we ask for funding, extra funding, it is in those specific areas that are prone to supplementary. So if they are not addressed, definitely we still move on with dates. So this is the reason that we can't pay. Sorry. Now going to...
Yes, conclude.
Okay, to the response on domestic arrears stock. Table 8, which is on page 31, shows the details. We have food bills, and this is an area that we pointed out that has issues and shortfalls. Here, financial year 2021-22, we are taking you back. We had, I think I showed a domestic area of 10.1 billion shillings. 22-23, this money was not cleared, and we incurred now another debt. And financial year 23-24, we are at 83 billion. We're at 83.6 billion shillings.
At this point, as I can see, also you are getting what
money. I wonder how it will honor other domestic areas of other entities. I want the minister to explain when are they paying this money, the parliamentary circle, totaling to 34 billion shillings, and what can be done.
Thank
or
you.
How best can this committee help to actually handle that? Still on domestic areas, no, I think still on areas generally, there's money for veterans. West Nile Bank Front, Amuka, and then Rwenzori. These people, there's a budget of 30 billion and zero allocation. Is this part of the priority areas for the ministry, really?
Mm-hmm.
We know how our veterans, they served this country, they played their role. Today they are living in a very unfortunate situation. Is it part of the priority areas in the ministry, really? And how can this committee and parliament help them to have these people, especially West Nile Front Bank? These people are living in a terrible situation, embarrassing situation, and really it disappoints to see that these people who offer the service and help to liberate this country are living in that situation.
Thank you, Honorable Keo. Although you have listed West Nile Bank Front, the Renzo 2018 and earlier years. And these honorable colleagues, these are our voters, it's not good to find them, people who offered their blood, who really, especially those that are disabled. So we want to hear from you that it's very, very of great importance. Honorable Abdara, arrears.
Yeah, the president originated a communication directing the father of Mohoz.
No, you are protected. This floor is yours, Honorable Abdara Chwan.
Originated a communication directing the Ministry of Finance to immediately pay off all areas regarding water and electricity. And it was at that point that UPDF commenced installing solar and digging shallow water. How come that it's still here, yet they were cleared?
Okay.
Concerned about the presentation by the ministry. In this financial year 25-26, Mr. Chairman, we are seeing a grand total of 4,356,000,000 financial year 2025-2026. This is as juxtaposed with one of 2024, the outgoing financial year, whose budget is 4,754,000,000,000. Mr. Chairman, we are witnessing increased demands and strain on the UPDF and the ministry. Yet the budget is going down. Increased engagements, more recruitment. Already there is the 10,000 under recruitment, but they expect another recruitment of another 10,000.
The 10,000 under training?
Yes, under training, and also they intend to recruit another 10,000. But the budget is not supporting this. What magic are you planning, Minister of Defense? Where will you get this? You are having good plans. You've led us through. But we know you can only do this through the budget. But the budget is dwindling. And yet we are going through an election year where you will have to safeguard the domestic and external challenges to the country. And even you are undertaking to realign and with the NDP 4. But the resources are not matching to that intention. So why are you not telling us the truth? How will you be able to do this? How will you be able to sustain this in view of the diminished budget, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you.
Number two, and I know I leave to my, as the ministry have not told us how far you've gone with the salary enhancement of the lowest cadres, the officers and men of low ranks from private, and yet you had made an undertaking. And this is part of the welfare, this is part of the morale.
Honorable Sech, just to supplement, it's not an undertaking. We actually, last budget, Parliament passed that.
Yes.
Yes. So
but they are not, we are not seeing how it was effected. Ordinarily, we would want to know how much is our private now being able to earn. To the sergeant, lieutenant, up to captain. Would be grateful to know that how you have undertaken and how you have indeed implemented that.
Thank you.
Lastly, very lastly from me, Mr. Chairman, I'm seeing you were planning for 213 billion, 118 million for pension and gratuity for veterans, resettled and reintegrated. Mr. Chairman, I want to draw the attention of the Deputy CDF and the attention of the Joint Chief of Staff that your officers down there are causing mayhem.
They are veterans.
Yes. There is one, General Emmanuel Rashande, and another one, Fenehas Katirima. They are involved in active politics, which is their right, having retired. But they are fighting even before the election period is on. They are causing havoc. I was involved on the 23rd of December.
Honorable Sechko, yes. You are creating an impression that the two officers are fighting against each other.
No, against the civilians whom they are supposed to protect and to lead by good example. Whereas it is their right to participate now in politics now that they are retired. But what they caused on the ground on the 23rd, Mr. Chairman, I was involved as the area member of parliament. And indeed, they were the ones who held a rally, a meeting of that kind, and were beating up people who were not agreeing with them. And this is not the discipline we have known of the UPDF, Mr. Chairman. Now that the two are here,
thank you.
May we get the assurances that this money they are demanding, the 213 billion, is not going in the hands of those who are not really adding production and development to the country, but are using it, and they are using this money, the army vehicles, the escorts they have, to intimidate and beat up people in the civilian life.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Sechko.
One is on the budget performance for the half a year, where they have indicated that what was released was 1,833 billion, and what was spent was 1,799 million. And the performance percentage is 98.2%. When you look at what was released vis-a-vis what was spent, we have no explanation. We have no justification on the balance of the 33 billion. The percentage is zero, including the wage. There is some balance on the wage. So we don't know how this
came about. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, around the financial year, I think 2018, 17-18, government appropriated money to Ministry of Defense to install the solar project at Kororo. And we were convinced that this solar project would actually generate more money to government because they were supposed to sell it to the national grid. Up to date, when we are considering whenever we are considering either the budget framework paper or the ministerial policy statement for the entity, this does not come out. Can we know what it has contributed to the economic growth of this country?
And the status of the implementation of the project.
Yes. No, the implementation actually, the Kororo project, it was done, it was finished.
Okay.
We are now interested in knowing how much does it bring to the ministry or to government.
Thank you.
Lastly, Mr. Chairman, is on pension and gratuity. I think this is where all of us as the members of parliament, where we need to interest ourselves. Yes, we enhanced salary for the UPDF. And it was done in bits, in percentages. Because much as one of us has asked about or how far with the implementation, but I also recall that even majors, lieutenant colonels, it was done in percentages. Phases. In phases. It has not been fully implemented. So as they explained to Honorable Sechkubo's concern, then that should also be put into consideration. Because this...
just a rejoinder, and if implementation is in phases, and an officer at the rank of colonel retires when full implementation of the salary scale is not yet done, retires, what happens?
Yeah, actually, Chair, that's where I was going, because there are schedules. Officers and men of UPDF, they are schedules for retirement. They know when they are going. And if this is not done, then what is the effect to that officer or a soldier who has retired? And lastly, Mr. Chairman, this is to us as members of parliament. These officers and men, especially those who retire, they come back to us. And even those who are still serving, when you look at...
They are all candidates for retirement anyway.
Yeah, they are all candidates for retirement. But when you look at what a soldier goes back home with, it is really a shame. I think it's high time that we actually quicken the process of the UPDF bill so that these veterans, these officers and veterans who are serving and those who have gone, really their issues are catered for. And now they have brought it at a very right time, where when the bill is with us, they have given us the projection, especially on pension and gratuity.
Yes.
I think it's high time that this particular budget item is well thought of when we are considering the budget for this financial year. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nyeko.
Of measures upwards, and now from private to a captain. I don't think if it was in the wisdom of Parliament that it should be done in phased manner. So I want the minister to put it categorically clear that for us here, we said we enhance the salaries from a private to a captain. Where did the idea of the phased come?
Thank you. Honorable Nyeko.
In their presentation that it has a downfall of 14.9 billion. and we have extended our operations in areas that were not presented before, including those areas that are being occupied by the M23. How are you operating, and how many officers are we having on ground? Do they have enough resources? Do they have boots? And we seek more clarifications on our men in uniform that are in these areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nyeko. Honorable Sevikari.
To page 23
of the presentation.
Of the presentation, there is some construction of house units and in Mbuya joined headquarters. Honorable Chair, I would like to know how much does each unit, if they are 700 and they need 20, sorry, it is page 14 and 16, but they need 23 billion, I think. No? Am I right? Go to page where there is construction, I think it is page, yes. I would like to know how much each unit costs, and if there is any construction of Mbuya joint headquarters, how much, so that we can know if, because they are saying across the country, and you know the cost of each unit differs from region to another. How did they, come to that figure?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Then two, Honorable Chair, in relation to what Honorable Nyeko said, talked about Operation Suja. Honorable Chair, I would like to know, as members of the committee, a longer-term procedure for this issue. When shall we end, that operation? Because are we going to remain at war for all the time? Even Karamoja itself, we are in NRM government that has existed for quite a long time, and Karamoja is a small part of Uganda. But how can we bring Karamoja to sanity in a long term?
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable.
According to the accounting officer, is happening with this animal called Uzima. Year in, year
this
out.
Animal, this?
Yes, because it is year in, year out, it is swallowing. We are injecting. For it is always in losses. What is the problem? Because we are injecting, other companies are running the same project smoothly and they are not at the low capacity like Uzima. But year in, year out, we are injecting in Uzima.
Honorable Abdara, is Parliament funding Uzima?
We are on the issue of injecting public funds. What is the problem?
How are we injecting it in?
Through NEC, and it is indicated in the presentation here. What is the problem? We are injecting money in Uzima.
Yeah. Thank you.
Two, Mr. Chairman, I'm also aware that NEC started a security company. And it is nowhere anywhere
a
here.
Private.
Yes. Because they always. What is happening? Because nothing is listed for it. We are not supporting it in any way because totally it is not mentioned anywhere in the presentation. What is the problem? And lastly, as far as ATMIS is concerned, ATMIS? We thought that by end of 2024, we are going to be forgetting about spending any money in Somalia because we are supposed to close and our forces come back. But still I'm seeing something that we are still going to be incurring expenses as far as facilitating the forces there. It is 1.7 now, 1.799. This is page.
Thank you.
saying, Mr. Chairman, that this is a clown from Mukono posing as the MP of Mukono municipality. If what we see in the social media is anything to go by.
We closed that.
I'm so grateful that we are not arrested by now.
Honorable Chireke, we closed that.
No, I'm saying I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
Because Mr. Chairman, the last I saw in the social media was that you as the leader of the clowns on this committee are going to be arrested. And I'm saying I'm very grateful that we have not been arrested. So if you closed it, it's good, but it is, you know, when something goes out, it is out. One time I was with General Tumukunde on CBS radio, and he made some remarks, and after those remarks, he was imprisoned for years. I don't know if this is the same UPDF and that we are still moving using the same law and the same constitution, because these days we see people make remarks in the media. And I mean,
Honorable Bachireke, Rule 199, let's restrict ourselves to the budget framework paper.
Mr. Chairman, that is within the budget, because this is the army we are funding, and I want to know which laws they are using. Are they still the UPDF that is provided for under the Constitution, or this is a completely new force? So, Mr. Chairman, the people of Mukono would like to get an assurance that really UPDF is still committed to moving by the Constitution of Uganda, especially in regard to the recent behavior of its commander.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, having said that, I want to make these few observations. I want to know for sure, is Uganda at war? If I go to Mukono and I'm addressing people, should I tell them that we are at war as a country, or we are in peace times? And if we are at war, when will these wars end? Every time we look at the budget, Mr. Chairman, we are funding UPDF over and above all other priorities of the country. And that should be very clear information coming from the army about its operations. 2, Mr. Chairman, that was a time when it was reported that we were attacked in Somalia. We waited to, because I've seen here value expenses, whatever. Never, we did not see UPDF converging for morning and for values. I don't know what happened. Neither were we, even families, some people don't know exactly where their children are. If your child, if your relative was deployed in Somalia, there was an attack, there was no information that came out in terms of saying that these are the names of the people who fell at the battleground in Somalia, these were the injured, you know, nothing came out. We kept on waiting. So even the Parliament directed the minister to bring a statement on that matter. Up to now, that statement has never been issued, Mr. Chairman. And I wonder why the ministry and UPDF at that matter continue to deny this House information. 3, it's the issue of uniforms. Money here is being voted for uniforms, Mr. Chairman. But even if you look here, you will see so many shades of colors. And I would like to know if we could be given at least a list of the gazetted uniforms of UPDF, especially because people have been arrested from my party, tortured, sodomized. Yes. paraded before the court martial with the claim that they have been putting on clothes which are a preserve of the UPDF. And what are these people putting on? A red overall and a red cap. So I want to know for sure, what are the gazetted uniforms of UPDF?
Yes, that's your question.
Yes. And then, Mr. Chairman, we do travel. We visit other countries. In fact, in some countries, there's a day which they call a combat day. And not necessarily the people putting on uniform of the army, but something similar. Because, you know, the army is supposed to be a people's army. But the vindictiveness, the cruelty being displayed by UPDF against the citizens of this country for putting on clothes, you know, that appear with camouflage shades, clothes that are imported and taxed as they enter into the country, clothes that are sold at shops. Those are manufactured for civilian wear, Mr. Chairman. So I want to know, why is UPDF behaving in such a manner? Why are they becoming so too aggressive, especially against the people who dress up for political reasons, Mr. Chairman, especially people coming from my party.
Okay.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, we have people who are ready to testify, and I want UPDF to get out properly on this. People who have been in the hands of the army as detainees, and they come back complaining that they were sodomized. Recently, the CDF came out and said that in fact it doesn't support even the law we made here as Parliament. So I want to know about the position of UPDF on same-sex marriage, you know, because their commander, to me, is their spokesperson.
Okay, you made your point.
Thank you.
Honorable Chireke, Honorable Lamwaka.
I want to echo on the issue of the medical equipment. We know very well that defense is the most affected institution. Why do I say this? Because they are fronted to wars anytime. And if the ministry give them not even a drop in the sea, and they expect that they should move on, and yet they cannot be treated in other public hospitals, I see like we are giving a disservice to defense, and this one here we must have to take it on and make sure that their budget is done to, it must not be even like they come for supplementary, it must have to be in the budget. And I also want to echo a bit on what Honorable Mayundi, is it Lima Mayundi, has said on the issue of water. If really they could increase their budget, because if in 2024-2025, the budget was 4.7 trillion, now they have gone down to 4.3, and yet even me, I'm growing. I'm not going down. Why can't they include now the solar system that can drill for them water, so that they reduce this issue? I still remember what we told police, especially to big barracks divisions where there are many soldiers. At least we should have at least a solar powered water which can reduce this expense or the budget which is always going very high. Mr. Chairman, my heart bleeds. I come from Kitgum. I was born and found Karamoja being an enemy to the neighboring districts, on raiding, doing many things to us.
Hostile.
Yes. But now, when it comes to budget, you get that the money which is given to my humble soldiers, I must report to you that they are doing some good job
in Karamoja.
In Karamoja and the neighboring districts.
Thank you.
At least they are working. But when they are not given money, they are not given money and they can't go to civilian and ask them, give us money for fuel, and we follow your animals which have been raided. How do we want these people to help? And we keep on shouting that, yes, in Karamoja, in Kitgum, we are having insecurity. They have raided in Teso. They have raided in Lango. At least something must be done by Ministry of Finance to make sure that much as we are looking at the security of Congo, Somalia, and what have you, we first serve our people within. If something is not done, Mr. Chairman, one, my people are bringing a petition to Parliament. Two, we shall mobilize as the neighboring district and walk from Kitgum up to, is it the headquarters? Is it Buea or Bombo? We shall go there. So something should be done. Then from there we go to Ministry of Finance, because it's finance which is bringing all this. I don't have any problem with the army, much as I'm a daughter to a soldier. But I'm not saying that my father has been, all these are my fathers and are my friends. Then, Mr. Chairman, this Uganda Land Cargo Corporation, let us not say air. It is land. It is Uganda Land Cargo Corporation, because I've never seen it on the air. Every day is spare parts. Every day what? Every day what? Can we do something to this
So
thing?
it is Uganda air cargo that is always on the land.
On the land.
Grounded.
So we should have to change it from air cargo to land cargo, so that we know that this thing is permanently down here. I don't know what we should have to do. There must be something which could be done, because I remember when General Lakara was there. That was 2019, 2020 something. There was something which was coming up. And I don't know why this thing had remained grounded. And yet we are moving on. Then lastly, this budget of 4.3 trillion would have been increased by considering the veterans. All of you who are on uniforms are going to be veterans tomorrow. As one time when I went to pick one of my lovely sister from the mortuary, as I was getting out, there was a writing that one time we were also like you. That means I will also be in the mortuary one time. So why can't we look into this issue of the veteran? I have them in my district. When you look at the veterans, you even said tears. Some of them are getting the pension. Is it the pension of pension? I think pension of 30,000 shillings. 30,000, and he's saying even 25. What are all these? They are not old. Some of these people who are retired. Oh, okay, for them you can go for early retirement. But if you are not considered, if you are not given something that can make you also fit in the community, in the society, you will end up getting another way of going to.
Thank you, Honorable Lamwaka.
Mr. Chairman, those are my points. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Though, I want to say that as Parliament and as leaders, we should not be dwelling so much of something which has gone,
Thank
which has
you.
passed.
Mm.
We don't need to pull those things which has. If we keep on pulling, we will not move. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Honorable Brandon Kintu. Then we give.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
The Honorable Sekukuru.
As introduced, I'm Brandon Chintu, a Member of Parliament representing the people of Kagoma North constituency. But the most important, Mr. Chair, I speak for you. Correct. And the Vice Chair in the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, including the Minister.
And you're doing well.
Honorable Chair, in my line of duty, sometimes I'm with my good NRM and a long-time serving member of this committee, Honorable Sechikubo, and we try to answer and speak our programs. And when it comes to security, there are so many abuses of the UPDF. I think since the spokesperson is here of the UPDF will tell us, and the Minister, that the UPDF is arming and guarding men of God. Sometimes I fear to go to church because if a pastor is fearing, he's at the pulpit and guarded by UPDF behind. Now, is the UPDF more protected than God? And under what criteria are they arming, protecting these men of God? Mr. Chair, I'm a little scared even to give offertory in born-again churches because it looks insecure. So I would like to know from the UPDF, these men who are dressed in your uniform smartly, standing behind a man of God, so-called man of God, with a gun, and all those, I don't know the military language, with bullets and all these things. And then also some civilians, actually, with no security threat. We have crime intelligence, we have Uganda police. Nowadays, Mr. Chair, we are running into campaigns. You see some people that are saying, I'm connected to Sansa, I'm connected to a minister, both of both, is coming to campaign, and yes, true. I'm just giving an example, but they use big names because no one will claim saying I'm connected to Brandon. But now, these people are armed. I wrote a letter. I have this incident in Gaddafi barracks in Jinja. There is a so-called pastor, doctor, man of God. He's somewhere eyeing for political interest, but he moves with about 4 of these armed people. Green. I wrote to the RDs, I wrote to the DISO, I wrote one officer in this parliament who is a colleague of mine, and I wasn't answered, but I have documents. At an appropriate time, Honorable Chair, I will share them with you. Now, as a spokesperson of the NRM, some things cannot be defended when we are right here sitting. And when you ask, we shall handle. That's the normal. Now, if you can tell Brandon, who speaks for all the NRM MPs in Parliament, shall handle, and the issue is not handled, how about someone from Rita Makoli in Buyengo? So, please, UPDF, Uganda People's Defense Forces, let us lift this face of Uganda People's Defenses so that it's not ugly army for the... If somebody has a security threat, police is there. And there are so many other measures. So, Mr. Chair, I would like to singly go back on radio and defend the defendable because I love the UPDF.
Thank you.
But when I looked at the Air Force, for them they expended less, and I would like to know why are they at 88.8% when the rest at 99, 95, the list is 95, 91. So why are they absorbing less money? Then, Honorable Chair, there is something you talked about in relation to canine food.
Yes.
And we had not interacted with the NEC Agro. I would like to thank them very much for what they are doing. This country is happy for you. And as members of Parliament on the committee, we are really happy for what you are doing. But when we went to was it in Zambia, police barracks, we found that they are feeding canine animals using a lot of money. And we were suggesting that
imported food that could easily be produced here.
Produced by NEC. Not only the canine food, but we have other food supplements that are medically, subscribed that come from outside. You can look into it and manufacture them instead of buying them.
Thank you.
Using a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Keo, and we come.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. This Honorable Committee did observe that Uganda Air Cargo, if properly capitalized, could be sole cargo for our maybe men and equipment in time of operation. What has the Minister of Defense done actually to make sure that Uganda Air Cargo is capitalized? Because this committee has always been giving a recommendation, and always, because it is not under their priority, I want to know whether it is under their priority or not, they have always had zero allocation. Yet this is an area that would attract a lot of NTR, even to the Minister of Defense. Then also on NEC Agro, like my colleague has stated, I am a member of COSASE, and we did visit and saw what they are doing. And no wonder the Auditor General's report has posted them as one of the profit making. I have an issue with the NEC Katonga farm, which posted negative in terms of NTR. I want to know from General Ula, what is not being done correctly, and why do you need to be capitalized when you are making zero profits? Because you are in negatives, in fact, not even zero, negatives. You are making losses. And for NEC Uzima, actually, you are making profit, but can you justify this allocation that you are calling for, and that is going, because it is only for R&D. What is R&D?
Research and development.
Can we unpack
Okay.
R&D? That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
It is research and development.
Absolutely.
I have a number of people here, officials and the generals, who will answer a few of the questions put. And to start off with, Madam Buturo, Mrs. Buturo, you'll answer that question on pension. And followed by construction, General Besige, construction, and then the issues of Uganda,
Air cargo.
Air land cargo, will be by General Lakara here. Luwero Industries is General Wula. Then we'll get back here to the PS and the ministers available.
Good.
And
Honorable Chair, I want to first of all thank this Honorable Parliament, and specifically the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs, for the support we have received as a ministry in this direction. That until for 2014-15, we had never had a budget called pension and gratuity. And from that time, since the decentralization project or program started, we have consistently, Chair, paid our soldiers their pension and terminal benefits generally on time and to the level that is deserving of the respective ranks. Honorable Chair, we've been doing this in a phased way. First of all, as you recall, Chair, we had to inherit, we call it inheriting, the defense payroll, which was at Ministry of Public Service for quite a number of years. We got a supplementary budget that year, 2014-15, of 34 billion shillings, which we spent following verification of this pension budget. In the same year, Chair, we retired the first batch of UPDF. And we did this, Chair, following, we started with the current year, 14-15. And around that time, Chair, you recall that we had to do a verification exercise. We went out countrywide and captured a number of our soldiers who had as of then, never seen anything called a pension on the account. So, Chair, I first of all to commend the government that since that time we have consistently paid our soldiers their pension. Chair, as the members raised, the honourable member rightly raised, there are some other auxiliary forces. We have talked about Amuka, the Rwenzori group, veterans, the WNBF, West Nile Bank Front, and some UPDF, like you said, sir, who have not been paid since 1992. And even World War veterans were in our category of soldiers to be paid. So we have, over time, working backwards, because the question has always been, why do you pay those who have just retired and you have not considered those who retired much earlier? Yeah. We had to go through a verification exercise for those retired much earlier for us to be able to capture the accurate information. First of all, is this person alive? What's their rank? Are they deserving of the rank? And all that. So we had to go through a verification exercise to capture the outstanding since 1992. Now, for the other auxiliary forces, Chair,
yes, besides
UPDF, we had what you called NYA, NYA. We had what we called RIF, Reduction in Force, the 1992, and others. So as recently as last year, Chair, we want to also inform this Honourable House that we're able to pay a new entrant, the UNRF, from West Nile, one of the West Nile. We had two groups in West Nile. One, we completely paid off the 5 billion shillings, and then the one that is appearing here, the 21 billion not yet paid, is under verification. So the groups mentioned and yet to be paid, the Amuka, the Rwenzori, the WNBF, are still under verification and are planned to be paid as soon as that verification exercise is done. But we have an estimation of how much they're supposed to be paid. So what I wanted to emphasize, sir, is that this is a priority area for us, from what I've said, and we are continually paying off these groups of honorable people who will serve this country. And until the last person is paid, we are not going to rest. So our prayer today was the 21 billion shillings that has been planned for the WNBF be granted, because we are in the process of finalizing.
So that means West Nile Bank Front is verified, documented and verified.
Procedure, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, you would please.
And my minister is here, Veteran Affairs. She has done a very great job leading this crusade. And we have seen the results, Honorable Chair. And we believe that once the 21 billion is granted, this coming financial year, we should be able to, actually it should have been this year. We had asked for it as a supplementary in this current year. So once that money is given to us, we should be able to clear the WNBF. But I'll request perhaps that Honourable Minister herself maybe updates the committee on the matters of concerning Rwenzori, the Rwenzori sub-region. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, with your permission.
Honourable Minister, would you want?
We are already in the process of organizing and also verifying the veterans from Rwenzori sub-region. We have decided to do it in a phased manner because we don't have all the resources to do it at once, but it is in the process. But even to make it a more important program, the President has set a committee of cabinet under the chairships of Attorney General, who is trying to holistically look at the issue of the veteran affairs of the veterans, so that all of them are brought on board, and I'm a member of that committee we are also concluding our report that we will also be tabled to cabinet to
Okay. Okay.
Clarification, Mr. Chairman.
Clarification.
On that, because how did it come from 537 billion that you needed just 2 years ago to 30 billion? Have you...
No, he's saying 30 billion is for West Nile Bank front.
No. For the case, for the pension backlog.
Backlog.
Yes. And even then it was pension backlog. Those who were there.
Yet verification had not been done.
So Honorable Sechikubo, Honorable Ramwaka, those were members of the committee. So can we have explanation on this?
Thank you. Very clear. We gave a chance to everyone, really.
Yeah, I don't want to smuggle in my issues.
We gave a chance to each member. So let's maybe you will get from responses. You are
from responses.
Yeah, thank you.
As I sit here as another clown in the
no, that's
vicinity.
okay. I can tell you get responses. Let's Honorable Minister.
And I happen to have been one of the framers of the UPDF Act 2005. And I remember the issue of West Nile Bank front, which you are seeking money for, plus those other militants, prominent of whom was the FRONASA, and those who died before 1986.
Through you, Chairman, Honorable Sechikubo should give full information that he did not only participate in the framing of the bill, UPDF bill, but also he was an employee and the staff of the Ministry of Defense.
Oh, good. That's very good, actually. Honorable Sechikubo, that's so you are very helpful to the to the institution. That's why I gave you a second, third, fourth chance.
Mr. Chairman, of course, he has pulled my legs now. I can't stand firmly.
But I thought that is the reason you are kept on this committee, to help.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Mr. Chairman, then the issue was for all these other groups and militants who participated in the defense, in the fighting before 1986. They were not included on the schedule. And the ministry then promised, under Honorable Amama Mbabas, that he would come with a law to ratify even those fighters to qualify for pension, including those who died in the struggle in 1981 to 86 and were grouped together with West Nile Bank front. So at what stage did the Ministry of Defense pick out West Nile Bank front and, for instance, leave those, the NRAs of 1981 to 86 up to 25th January 1986? They were never covered. And our prayer was, can also this group be catered for?
Thank you. Now you see, it's
one of the groups that has been captured there. It's there in it. You just open the schedule and you will see that it's there. But when you come to the issue of NRA, especially that group you are talking about, which has not been captured there, these are people we are already paying, but they are under the backlog group. And their schedule is from retirement from that time up to 2014. And that's why even those who qualify for pension, their pension is very low, which Honorable said there are those who are getting even 30,000. Because we are using the formula under public service, which needed somebody to be there for more than 60 years. But when you look at the rules and procedures, let me use the parliamentary word, for the military, some of the people retire when they have not even served for 10 years, not even 5 years. So when you use that formula of public service, it disservices them. And that's why in this bill that we have now tabled before you, we want to correct that. And when it is corrected, those who now qualify for pension are going to get a better pension. And that's why even now, after the enhancement, the enhancement that has been done, because it has not been approved in the law, their enhancement is still very low. It's not automatic that their pension has been increased. That's what I can say on that group that you are talking about. And for those who didn't have the numbers, because I know that's the next question you are going to ask, especially our people here in Iloere Triangle, they worked, they fought, but they didn't get army numbers. They were satisfied when they get the power. They just went home peacefully and settled. So now they said they want to be paid because they fought, but they were not given numbers yet. They went not formally. So those are also groups that we are trying to recognize and look at. The UPDF is already trying to see what they can do for those people.
Is that part of the proposal in the amendment?
They are there. They
Okay.
are there. Those ones are there. So when we approve, really, most of those issues will be handled. My brother, I wish that we expedite the
No,
deal
mine is just one clarification.
Yes.
We have UNRA.
Kati ebintu bya Uganda ennaku zino bifuuse bya ntanantana era ezo ssente nabo abakulu omanyi politics buli okulonda ekutuuka buli omu anoonya w'anaaliira kuba omusirikale tubuuza mbu oyagala ezo ssente mu defense committee ezigenda okukuuma obululu ekisooka tusooka ezo ssente zaali badde simbi ne poliisi yali badde esooka okuwa budget eyo si buvunaanyizibwa bw'amagye kukuuma obululu sikirabangako nti amagye ge gakuuma obululu eyo mandeeti ya poliisi ekuuma processes z'obululu omulimu gw'amagye ku defendinga Uganda so si kujje no ku byabulu naye tulaba akalulu kano baagala kamilitarizinga kubanga bwe nalaba emabegakaawo nga General Museveni agamba mbu bagenda kuleeta amagye gakwata ababbi b'ente gabeere eyo amagye gakuume emmwanyi nendaba nti balina some sinister gye baplaninga naye ezo ssente tetugenda kuzibawa era aduumira amagye gye n'omuhoozi alina okujja gwe tuwadde omukisa ajjaze explainingire naye bano abalala bano abatali bakomanda bano ne bwe banaakomawo emirundi 6 mu BFP ssente zaabwe tezigenda kwisibwa naye nga kyetumanyi agenda baagala kuddira okulonda kuno kwonna amagye bagamilitarizinga oba bagafule bagateekemu kubanga kano akalulu bakatidde nnyo kano ke kalulu either we surrender oba we win kubanga bw'otunuulira okulonda kwonna okuzze kubaawo ng'omusajja yeerangirira at any cost nga ne results tubabuuza gye bazijja nga internet yavaako nga tebazituwa ku mulundi guno tukayingiramu nga tuli match away nga ate tuli match determined nti either we win or they lose ekyo kye tulina tetugenda kuddayo emabega so bwe baba nga balowooza nti bagenda kukozesa magye okutiisatiisa abantu kubanga ffe tubadde tusuubira nti amagye tegisiga galina okusaba ssente ez'omu kalulu electoral commission yasabye ssente zaayo zegenda okukozesa so si magye kusaba ate ne ssente ezikuuma emirembe mu biseera by'akalulu tuziwa poliisi si magye kyebyanga amagye okusaba ssente ezo trillions 4 ekyo omukulu abakulu gye bayisa ssente zaabwe era bw'owulira nti waliwo entalotalo ezo simanyi M23 n'obawulira nga bagamba Uganda e Congo bano balina expeditions zaabwe ze bakola wano n'okuba nti nabo balina kye beetegekera bakulaga nti waliwo kye batidde ekijja mu maaso ate era tekiri wano oka mu Uganda naye abagoberera ebyobukulembeze batunuulira ensi z'okumulirwano wano buli omu kati ali ku tiizi waliwo ekigenda maaso mu Congo waliwo ekigenda maaso e Kenya waliwo ekigenda maaso e Sudan so aba basabye ssente kati kiri erifa ababaka ba parliament buvunaanyizibwa bwaffe okubateeka ku nninga be-explaining eti zino 4 trillions zigenda kukola ki waliwo olutalo olukusifu oba waliwo olutalo lwemwetegekera nga bannansi temunnababuulira nti okusinziira ku ange eziriwo n'embeera eriwo waliwo olutalo lwe tugendamu mugenda kufacilitatinga ki oba osanga ate baziisizza mu defense nga ze zigenda okugulirira akalulu kubanga abakulu bano politikale batambulanga kinnawolovu bagiraagira ne beekyusakyusa ne beegiraagira ne beekyusa ne bagiraagira ne beekyusa and it becomes normal. Manyi kati obubbi mu gavumenti ya Museveni bufuuse nnomo, tewakyaliwo kipya, kubanga kati ne bwe bukeera enkya ne bakugamba nti ono yatutte buwumbi, ogamba it's normal, kubanga abakulembeze baffe baasalawo okubba eggwanga lino n'amaanyi gaabwe n'omutima gwabwe n'obuvunaanyizibwa bwabwe. Kuba kati kiringa bwe mulaba ffe ababaka ba palamenti tuyisa ssente okugula eddagala mu malwaliro, naye kizibu okusanga eddagala mu ddwaliro lya gavumenti, naye nga tuyisa billions and billions of money, but it's very hard okusanga nti mu ddwaliro lya gavumenti wagenze ne bakukolako ne bakuwa eddagala. So kakati kyezino ssente zino eziisibwa, ffe tususpectinga nti Museveni aziiseeyo ozitwala okumunoonyeza obululu ogulirira abalonzi. Tusuubira nti alina obubinjabinja bwe obw'okumulirwano bwa facilitating wano naddala mu Congo, era tusuubira nti esente gyagenda ozitwala. Naye mandeeti yaffe ng'ababaka okuscrutinizing oba okusengejja tire zino sente z'otusaba zikola ki, naye olw'okuba nti n'ababaka ba palamenti be mulina era bafaanana Uganda nga bwefaanana, naffe tujja gamba yigwe nga kigenda. Ate olaba omutabani w'omukulu twamuyise ne tumugamba alina okwapiyalinga oba okujja mu kakiiko ka defense annyonnyole, naye waayisa akaseera n'agamba ye mbu tasobola kusinkana group of crowns, parliamentary crowns, tasobola kusinkana kibinja ky'abaddiikuula, mbu instead you are arrest them, bw'ajja kubakwata. Ne tusuubira statement ey'amaanyi okuva mu bakulembeze ba palamenti evumirira ebyo, naye buli omu yasirise n'agamba it is normal to be called ddiikuula. Ne tutambulira awo ne mu komiti teyaze budget ye ne bagiyisa ye ng'ali ku malawundi gaalya. Kati if you have such a country which does not respect institutions governing that country, ebidirira byonna biba obvious. Kati bwe baba bayise abakulira amasomero okujja okuwa ensonga zaabwe, gwe ne bakugamba nti nsindise deputy headmaster ajja akole, enjawulo ebeerawo. Ffe tugamba nga bw'abeera bize, kitegeeza ne ku mirimu gy'abeera bize aba alina okuleka ekifo ekyo. Mu magye ffe abagamanyi batambulira ku order. Wali olabyeyo omubaka w'amagye mu palamenti ateesa ku by'amagye? Nabo babalabye wali mu kakiiko, abakiikirira amagye ku kakiiko ka defense nga kwe bali, naye tasobola kyakola ennyo kukolola awo, n'akolola n'okunywa bukyayicaayi obwo bwe banywa. Naye they cannot say, especially mu magye gano gwe basuubira nti ga Museveni ng'omuntu. Era ensonga lwaki olaba nti head of state asobola okulonda mutabani we n'amugamba gwe komanda w'ebitongole byonna, gwe komanda, n'akuba ne campaign nga abusinga amateeka g'amagye nga ayingidde mu byobufuzi, n'atakomawo n'akolanga ne tweets ezivoola amawanga agatulinaanye. Can any soldier do that in the army? N'abanga kati tebamuggalira dda. Kakati wano mu Uganda we are living in an abnormal situations, era we are supposed to do things abnormally. If we do things normally in abnormal situations, bajja kulowooza tuliko ekikyamu. Naffe tulina kutambulira mu bukyamu, kubanga embeera eziriwo zonna nkyamu, ensi ekyamu, wadde n'abatukulembera bakyamu, kubanga ne b'onooleeta deputy we ayogere ki? Waliwo oli byalina okutunnyonnyola, yagamba nti agenda kutemako Kyagulanyi omutwe, tubadde twagala tubuulire agumutemako ddi. N'agamba Besigye agenda mukomerera, simanyi ku lunaku lw'abazira. Kati ze statement ze twagala mubuuza nti are you normal oba ebigambo bino waliwo abigira? Nti account bagihakinga, tebakulimbanga tibagihakinga, agireeta kati ng'ali mu nsonda. Lwaki bulijjo tayogera? Balamu ye mwogezi we nti oba ye mwogezi w'amagye. Kati oli muveeko naye ali ku mugaati gwe, omugaati yakubuulira biki kyagala kugera. Byebyo byange ssebo.